If you find yourself constantly answering the same questions about your business, this AI customer support agent is for you. It automatically updates its knowledge base, responds to common questions, and escalate important emails to you. Let's start building it together. This system has two workflows. One keeps the knowledge base updated, and the second one handles the email response. Let's begin with the first workflow, and the trigger will be on a schedule. For the trigger interval, I'm going to choose once per month, but you can definitely make it sooner or longer, depend on how often you want to update your knowledge base. I'm going to use my website as my knowledge base, and in order to extract the information out of my website, I will need a tool named Tavily. If you don't have the tool installed, install it. Then click on Map Actions. We need Tavily API key in order to connect the tool with NAN. So go to Tavily, create an account, and simply choose the free plan. Once you create an account, on the overview section, you can copy your API key. If you don't have an API key, simply create one. Go back to NAN, create new credentials, and simply paste your API key, save, and you will see connection tested successfully. Then include the website you want to extract information from. In my case, I'm going to include my website. And then let's execute this step. As you can see, these are all the URLs detected inside my website, but there are URLs that we don't want to extract information from, as well as external website like X, Calendly, and so on that we also don't want to extract information from. And in order to exclude them, click on Add option, exclude path, and include the path you want to exclude. For example, I want to exclude the feed as well as privacy policy. As for external website, you want to click again on Add option, allow external, and disable this one. However, despite having several URLs, we have only one item. Therefore, if we trigger this workflow, it will only process the first URL, but we want to go over all these URLs. And in order to do so, we will need split out. And you want to include results, the one you see here, results. Now, let's pin this one to not burn the credits because we have already got our information from this node, and execute the workflow. As you can see, now we have 10 items, one item for every URL. Next, search for Tavily again, but this time we want to extract the information from every URL. Add URL, and you want to bring the result here. But before we execute the step, click on Add option, Format, Markdown. Next, click on Add option, include images, and disable this one. Before we move forward, let's execute the workflow and pin the data we'll get from the extract node. Okay, the workflow has executed successfully. Now let's pin this data. Next, we will need set node, and let's name this one content. Bring the raw content because we don't care about the rest of the content. The next thing we will need is to aggregate all the data into one item. So click on the plus, search for aggregate, then execute the previous nodes, get the content here. This way, if you execute, you will see all the content we have extracted out of the website will be aggregated into one item. The next node we will need is optional, and it is just for formatting. So let's search for set fields map, and let's name it formatting, for example. And on the value, turn it into expression and drag in the content. Dot join, and you want to type in like this. The next thing we need is a place to store all the information we have extracted out of the website. We cannot feed all this content to the AI agent because if we do so, every time it will run, it will take that content into consideration, and most of it will be irrelevant to the user question. Therefore, the API bill will be super high. That's why we need to feed it only the information that is relevant to the user query. And to do so, we need Victor Database. The Victor Database service we are going to use is Supabase. They have a free plan, and it is more than enough for what we are going to build today. So click on the plus, search for Supabase, Victor Store, add document to Victor Store. Then go to supabase.com, create a new account. Once you create an account, you will need to fill out this information like project name, database password, and so on. Once you create your project, you will land on this dashboard, and to connect Supabase with NAN, go to project settings, data API, copy this one here, go back to NAN workflow, create new credentials, and paste the host here. Then go back again to Supabase, then again click on project settings, API key, and copy your secret key. Go back again to NAN workflow, paste it on service role secret, save, and you will see connection tested successfully. Now that we have our Supabase account connected to NAN, we need to create our Victor database. So let's go back to Supabase, click on SQL editor. Inside here, we will need the formula that we are going to get from this page, and it is this one. Copy it. You will find, by the way, the link to this page down on the description. Once you copy it, go back to Supabase, paste it here, run, and it should create your Victor database table. you should see something like success, no rows returned. Now let's go back to our table editor and you will see document. By the way, just ignore this one because I had this before set up. Now let's go back to our NAN workflow. From, you should see document. Then you want to choose embedding model, embedding OpenAI. If you don't have OpenAI API key, you will need to create a new one. So go to OpenAI, log in if you have an account. If you don't, create a new account and go to API platform. From the API platform, you want to select API keys, create a new secret. Let's name it customer support agent, create a new key and copy it. Once you copy it, go back again to your NAN workflow, create new credentials, your API key. You don't need organization. Then for the document, you want to click on the plus, default data loader, load specific data. We want to execute the previous nodes. Then bring this key, which we named it previously formatting, to data. Click add option, add property. Let's name it date. And on the value, let's do now. Okay, now our system is ready to embed all the content we have extracted from the website into our Victor database. So click on execute the workflow. In my case, I have 40 items. Now let's go back to our Supabase, document, refresh it. And as you can see, these are the content that was extracted from my website and embedded into this database. Now let's go back to the workflow. But before we move to the second workflow, we need to add a new node. Click on the plus here, search for Supabase. You want to select the Supabase, this one, and not Supabase Victor Store, and choose delete row. Next, you want to select your table, which is document, string, and you want to include the following formula. This formula means that whenever this workflow is triggered, this node will check the date of the embedded content, and if it is in the past, all the outdated content will be deleted. So whenever we embed new content, that database will be empty, and therefore we'll add only fresh content. Let's give it a shot right now. Delete this link here, and let's execute. It was executed successfully. If you go and take a look to our Supabase account, you see there is no content embedded here. But since there is no output returned, you want to click on settings and always output data. If you execute the workflow right now, you will see that our workflow has deleted the previous data and it is including the new data. Now, if we check again our Supabase Victor database, you will see all the content being embedded again. Just quick note before we move to the second workflow, if you need help implementing this agent for your business or a similar one, you can always reach out to me using the first link on the description below. Let's start building the second workflow. The trigger of the second workflow will be Gmail node, and we want our workflow to be triggered whenever a message has been received. For the trigger interval, I'm going to let it trigger every minute since I am self-hosting NAN, but if you are not self-hosting it, then I recommend you increase the interval unless you don't care about the workflow execution. Then you want to disable simplify and then click on add filter, read status, and unread emails only. Then let's search for AI node text classifier. For the text classifier, I'm going to include two categories, service inquiry and non-service inquiry. So let's name this one service inquiry, and the other one, let's name it other inquiry, for example. Regarding description of your category, you want to tell exactly when to choose this category. In my case, for example, I'm going to say this. And for the other inquiry, I'm going to use this one. Select this category when email is not directly related. By the way, these are quick ones that I've generated with ChatGPT. Of course, yours will be different than mine. And if you want to give more context to this AI node, you want to click on add option, system prompt template, and it is this template in case you want to give it more information about your business or whatever you want. Okay, so I've just sent email to this email inbox. Let's pin the data we have got connected to our text classifier and bring in the content of the email. So we want to scroll until you find text and you bring it here. Here's the email that I have sent to this email inbox. Before we add an LLM model that will process the content of this email, we want to go to add option, enable auto fixing. Then click on model, OpenAI, chat model. In my case, I'm going to choose 4.1 mini and let's give it a shot. As you can see, the agent has took service inquiry path. Now click on the plus again, search for AI agent, source for the prompt you want to define below. But before we give it the content of our email on the subject line, we need to customize the system prompt. So click on add option, system prompt. Let's expand this one. I'm going to use the following prompt. Yours will be definitely different than mine. It depends on your business. Let's name this one subject and body. For the subject, I'm going to drag this one subject, drag it here, and for the body, let's do this one, text. The next thing we need is to enable or require specific output format. If we don't do this, whenever the AI agent create a response email, it will include both the subject line and the body inside the same variable, and we cannot use that one. That's why we need to enable this one in order to extract the subject line and the body as separate fields that we can use. Now let's click on the plus on output parser, choose structured output parser, and expand this one. This is the example I'm giving to the agent. I generated this using ChatGPT. You don't need to create this one manually. Just ask it to give you an example like this one using JSON formatting. Then click on this plus between memory and output parser. It is tools, but I don't know why we can't see it. Then search for Supabase, Vector database, and choose retrieve document as tool for AI agent. Next, you want to choose the table, which is documents, and on the description you want to tell the agent when to use this tool. So in my case, use this tool to fetch information about our agency to provide an accurate answer to the user. Okay, next, let's bring this one here. For the embedding, click on the plus and choose again embedding OpenAI. Now click on the plus, search for Gmail again, send a message. Then on the two, you want to go to Gmail trigger, scroll until you find from address. You want to bring this one here. For the subject, you want to go to the top again, bring the subject from the AI agent. Email type, let's switch it to text. The message, we will bring the body. Click on add option, append any attribution. We want to disable this one. Add option again, sender name. I'm going to include my name. Now let's trigger the workflow and see how the email will look like inside my email inbox. Now let's take a look inside my email inbox. And as you can see, I have just received an email and it looks something like this. Okay, it is a bit awful, let's be honest. But if you don't like the output, go back to your AI workflow, click on the AI agent and include some instructions inside the system message until you are happy with the final output. Now the only thing left is to receive a notification whenever the email we have received on this email inbox isn't business related. So to do so, click on the plus for the second category we have created. And in my case, I'm going to send the email to my personal email inbox. Send message, and this time it will be a static message. So I'm going to use my personal email inbox. And for the subject line, let's use this one. Let's switch the type to message. And for the message, let's expand this one and use this template. You want to scroll till the bottom and bring in the name here, space, address. So from the person name and their email. And for the subject line, we want to bring this one here, subject. Then go up a bit and bring in the text here. Let's remove this, and then let's put it between double question mark. Now, whenever this email inbox receives an email that isn't business related, this workflow will send me a notification email letting me know that I have received this email from this person and is inquiring about this specific thing. Now, let's bring this one here and again, click on add option, append any attribution, disable this one, sender name. I'm going to name it my name. And both workflows are ready. Now, whenever you receive a new email, your agent will take care of it. If it is business related, it will automatically respond to that email. If it is not business related, it will inform you by sending you an email, or you can use, instead of this email node, you can use your Slack channel or whatever channel you prefer. I hope you guys have found value on this video. If you did, please feel free to drop a thumbs up. And if you have any questions about this workflow, you can let me know on the comments below and I will try to respond to you as soon as I can. See you on the next video.